Hey everybody, this is Perch. With all the comic numbers discussion, there's a very weird argument playing out, or I mean, an expected argument. But basically, these comic numbers come out. We've talked about on these channels before. This is not another discussion about comic numbers, but follow me here. This is an interesting area where I think almost everyone has this one aspect completely backwards. The argument is the comic numbers are up for 2020. That's good news. It's we had a pandemic and everything else, and retail is dying and all this other stuff. Yet the overall comic business is up. And what are people doing? They're fighting over the details of what's included in those numbers, what's really doing well, what's really doing poorly. Can we get these numbers fractured and broken down? And there's this narrative from comic people who are in comics that basically goes, comics are thriving. Comics are doing great. F you, people who say comics are doing bad. Screw you. And the comic customers who are disgruntled about how the state of current comics are saying, no, comics industry are failing. And so this battle is going on and on. But here's the crazy part. This is where, actually, in the weirdest possible way, both people have one bit. It is the opposite of what people are claiming. If you are a comic customer, if you're a comic reader, and work with me here, and you do not hate manga, then right now, 2020, 2021, is a golden era for you. There has not been a better time, if you live in the US, to get your hands on so many different types of comic content. Things are thriving. Things are better than ever. If you're a comic customer, you have more options and more places to buy comics than you've had since really the newsstand went away. And you can get your hands on European content, content from Japan. You can order through Amazon. There's lots of material for you, more than there's been before. Guess what? The comic pros are right. For you, the comic customer, comics are thriving. Now you may go, well, but wait a minute. I'm talking about, Marvel, DC, the comics I grew up with. They're too expensive. They're off doing weird storylines. I'm pissed about that. And yeah, I'm sure you're right. Absolutely. But if we're talking about the overall comic business, congratulations, comic customers. You guys have it good. That's one half. Aha. But the other half, the other half is the funny story. If you're a comic, and I mean funny in a very painful way, if you are a comic professional, if you are a comic writer, a comic artist, works for the publisher, an editor, or somebody in the comic news media, pardon me, I just threw up in my mouth a little bit. Sorry, I'm joking. Your world is almost universally worse because your page rates are low. The publishers are shoving page rates down further. They're not giving out raises. The editors are making a unlivable wage. The ad market has largely dried up, and if you work in comic news media, pardon me, okay, if you work in comic news media, your pay is most likely free comps of comics via digital codes and/or maybe free passes to shows minus your own transportation costs. Your world sucks. I think a lot of people who are producing comics for mega corporations like Disney and AT&T, soon to be Discovery, you deserve more money. But there is no real hope of more money. And so we have this very interesting situation where the comic customers who are frustrated with current North America comics actually have it better off than they had it in a long time. You can get content from Japan, from Korea, from Asia. You can give it different types of manga. Digital has a number of different options for you. European comics are available. There are independent companies making comics, and you've got crowdfunding. You have more options. You guys need to look at the glass more half full. Your life's actually gotten better. And the comic pros of professionals who are kind of sneering and saying comics are thriving, you guys have it kind of wrong because your world blows. You guys are long overdue a raise, higher page rates, more job stability, stock options from these big companies, better royalties, more job options rather than shrinking options. I mean, it is the people who are loudly defending the world is great actually have it worse off than maybe they realize or than they should. The people who are saying life sucks actually has it better off than they realize because they have other options than they had in the last 20 years. We're living in reverse world. How about that? No, I mean, in all seriousness, I think that comic customers who have really been complaining, really frustrated, really outraged about the current state of the industry, yeah, I get it. I get being frustrated with what's happened to the companies that produce the comics you loved as a kid. I get it. I'm sympathetic. I'm with you. But you do have some pretty good things going on. You've got some other options. You can get closer to creators that you like and that are friendly to you than ever before. There is a possibility you can chat with them. You can hear interviews. You don't have to just wait to go to a Comic-Con to stand in line and maybe get 2 minutes with somebody. You can actually hear a lot and see a lot from people you like. You can just buy stuff yourself. Hell, if you've ever wanted to create a comic book, it's never been easier for you to make one. There are plenty of options now for you to do that. Relatively cheap. You can go into business for yourself. This was much harder 20 years ago. We are living in a weirdly great time. If you are frustrated with North American comics, or US comics, you've got a ton of other options you didn't have before. That's awesome. That'll put a smile on your face. If you're a comic creator, you should be more pissed. Particularly if you are sharing articles talking about the robust, booming comic industry, and you maybe have noticed your VP or senior executive, somebody with a C in their title, tweeting about how great things are and kind of like, how about that bad industry? Now, keep in mind, those people are making high 6-figure, 7-figure salaries. You are getting paid a dismal sub 100 page rate for your work. You should actually be more angry. In a weird way, the two sides should flip. Comic creators should be way more disgruntled that with all this capability, with all of these options, with movies and with everything else, the corporations you're working for are still not figuring it out. We've got a Loki show on Disney Plus. It's reportedly getting really high viewership. That's great. Hey, wouldn't it be nice if the omnibus of Loki's appearances that would create a royalty check for several of the creators who worked on it? Wouldn't that be nice if that was out in the market right now and not delayed until well after the series was over? Hey, you're getting screwed, folks. You are getting hosed. Look, I get it. If you are a senior executive for the big two, your life is pretty good. There's not a lot of responsibilities. You just have to worry about getting canned one day in a massive company riff. But in general, you are making bank. There are people at Marvel who are 7-figure people and getting stock and fat and happy. You know what always, by the way, as an aside, and I understand I'm wandering dangerously close to socialist territory here. What always made me a little crazy about the tech industry is the perks that would come with the executive team. And keep in mind, I for some companies, I was on the executive team, and they do things like if you make it to the executive level, they'll pay your fuel for your car to and from work. But the executives are making by far the largest salaries in the company. They can afford gas. The benefits are all backwards. Anyway, I say that as as somebody who's going over the benefit package for executives, and they are absurd. I mean, there's the standard stuff, first class seats, and they fly, and fuel mileage stipend, and pay for your phone, pay for gigabit internet in your house, and all that kind of stuff. But then some really ludicrous stuff like meal allowances and like just stuff that when you're getting paid a 7-figure salary to work at a comic company where sales are stagnant, somebody needs to slap inside the head. Anyway, I digress. If you work in comics, you should be way more pessimistic about where things are right now. Way more. Particularly if you work for one of the big companies. So I just find it kind of funny. This news comes out. People are complaining on the customer side, and people are talking about how amazing things are on the corporate side. Except the people who are working in the corporate side have less job security, less money, less upside, less pretty much everything. And regardless of how comics are doing, they are definitely not taking part in that wealth. They're not sharing the pie with you. I don't know why you're defending them so hard. And on the customer side, maybe there needs to be a little bit more recognition of the fact that we actually do have a lot of options. And it does suck to watch, you know, the X-Men turn into a weird fashion parade. That is painful. Again, as I've admitted in the past, I have every X-Men issue, every one, an unbroken run, and I'm going to keep buying this stuff because I'm a fool. But um, it's painful to remember the cool days of the X-Men versus the Reavers in the Outback, and there's some cool stuff back then. And to open it up today, and we got a gala. That's not it's not happy times for me. But I can go into any store now. Hell, I went into Safeway. It's a grocery store, and my daughter comes running up with a Tonkabon style book of I said Tonkabon style, it's Tonkabon of Demon Slayer in Safeway. Like I'm there buying vegetables and a steak, and she's got Demon Slayer in Safeway. That is a marvelous time. I mean, granted, it was better when I was a kid and the newsstand was there and I could just camp out in the magazine section and read all the comics there and then beg my mom to let me buy some. That was better. But still, baby steps. That's cool. Anyway, a little bit of an interesting reversal. Let me know if you think I'm crazy. I'm sure some of you will. In the comments below, like and subscribe. And, hey, good news. Well, for half of us, good news. For the other half, I mean, you should bitch more. Thanks for listening.